I will be monitoring the chat. While Sean's presenting, I will monitor the chat, and then when he's presenting, we'll switch it out. That way, if you put any questions in the chat, we'll try to make sure that we get to them. And then we'll also have time at the end to answer any questions that you have. So, Sean, are you ready to share your screen?
I am. And can everybody see the slide?
Not yet.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, great. All right. So welcome to the BCTR second year next steps meeting. So we're going to give an overview of everything that you need to know for your second year. Obviously, it's not as intense as your first year, but that's what we're planning to do for tonight. This is the agenda for today. We're going to talk about contact information. I've already sent out some information about that. Johari is going to present about the literacy course and EdCPA requirements. And then I'm going to finish us off at the end talking about licensure steps and things that nature that you need to do or just be aware of or that you'll hear from me throughout the school year requesting from you. So updating contact information. I did send out a couple emails with a form to fill in for any updates. So any name changes, any address changes. The most important one is the primary email that you want us to send stuff to because we won't be meeting in person. The email is going to be the best way to get us to get information to you. And I don't want you to miss any important documentation that comes out because there will be some important due dates and things of that nature. If you're not getting anything from me or Johari with like in a month or so, please check in with us just so that we can make sure that you're getting everything together. The other thing is just let us know is any teaching plans after this school year. Are you planning to stay in Baltimore, or if you're planning on not staying in Baltimore? Before you make any plans with the district or put any information in, please meet with me and Johari about your plan so we can make sure that it's successful, that you get your certification, and that you can have your move successfully. Because if you put in information that you're not going to be in, that could mess up your certification with the district. And so we want to be able to coach you through that. And then your evaluation. So most of you have given me your evaluations from last year. You're just going to do it again for at the end of the school year. All right. And then I'm going to pass it to Johari for.
All right. So this is really like, I would say the biggest part of this year. And we've historically, this literacy course, Sean, you can go to the next slide. This literacy course is something that every second year cohort since I've been a director has had to complete. This is the first year we've transitioned to science of reading. So there are going to be some new parts, not new for you, but new for us. So it just kind of give you a heads up that at the end of the literacy course, when it's done, we're going to ask you about like how you engage with it because we want to get that feedback. And again, just sharing with you that the literacy course has been something that we have historically had to do, but we are changing this to the science of reading, which is also aligned with a lot of the work that the district is now reinforcing behind science of reading. So this is like an MSD mandate. So all school districts are required to delve into the science of reading. And from our program perspective, we have to make sure as teachers, you truly understand it because the reading and understanding reading literacy is important in any content area. So just like we had course instructors with content with Academy, we have a course instructor with the science reading literacy course. It is a full asynchronous course. So there's nothing for you to log in. It's like you don't have to log in on Wednesday nights for class. You really have to manage yourself throughout these particular modules. So I want to share some information with you just to give you a heads up about what's coming down the pike, the timelines, and everything else. So the instructor for the Science of Reading course is Brooke. Brooke I don't know if she's a BCTR alum, but Brooke has been she's been a part of BCTR for 5 to 6 years. She's very familiar with the team. She lives in Baltimore. She's familiar with BCTR. She used to teach our science course. Our science courses when we had science as a licensure area. And she has been leading the literacy work for the last 3 years. So you're going to get an email from Brooke, and Sean is going to send out this deck to you all as well. So I don't want you to feel like you have to memorize everything. But if you're one of those people who emails, if somebody new goes to spam, please start looking for emails from Brooke, because it's not spam. She's actually the literacy instructor. The course is divided into 2 sections, lower elementary, and you know what? This is my mistake. Sean, I corrected this in a slide that's in our SharePoint, so we need to make sure we send that slide out. This is my mistake. Because it's the lower elementary is grades pre-K through 3, and upper elementary is grades 4. It's upper elementary and secondary grades 4 through 5. So just make a note that we make sure we get the most updated slide, which is in SharePoint, because the question mark shouldn't be there. They were placeholders for me. Please excuse that, the error, that's on me. So the lower elementary covers grades. So if you teach grades pre-K through 3rd, you will have lower elementary. Upper grades and secondary is 4th through 12th grade. So again, that's my mistake. The course dates. The course starts as of October 20th, and this is what it means when we say the course starts. You will have access to the course starting October 20th. You have to fashion yourself around the due date. So if you're one of those people that's like, I got to knock it out on weekends, you will get a chance, you'll get the opportunity to decide like what your timing looks like, as long as you adhere to those due dates. The course ends April 26th. So for lower elementary, which is pre-K through 3rd, there are 10 modules, and those 10 modules are spaced out in time. So in the next slide, I'll show you how Brooke kind of gives an example of like when things are due. And for upper elementary through secondary, it's 6 modules. The modules, of course, are not the same pace, but she's kind of broken it down so that all due dates are on Sunday nights versus, when we used to do 11:59 p.m. on a Friday or Saturday or Wednesday after academy. They're due on Sundays, which gives you the weekends if that's when you need to like work through it. But the course cannot go beyond April 26th for 2 reasons. One, we have to make sure that Brooke has scored all of your assignments, and the course comes along with it's a final exam, but you get 2 to 3 tries. So it's not like a final exam or 1 try and that's it, but it's a final exam. You do get it 2 to 3 tries, but you have to get a certain score on it in order to pass. But Brooke is responsible for scoring everything. So she can't go beyond April 26th, because I also can't pay her beyond a certain date. So because we have to turn in all of your test scores and everything else, the April 26th date gives you a runway from October 20th until the end of April to get all of your modules done. And then, of course, as I shared, the course is delivered through in an asynchronous manner, which means there's nothing that you need to meet with us about. You just need to fashion your time and make sure you have access to the course. Sean, you can go to the next slide. Okay. Yeah, okay. So you will need to have in Brooke's she's going to send you an email, and she's going to send you the email the morning of the 20th. When she sends you the email, she's going to give you directions to get to Blackboard. The coursework is on Blackboard. So that's where you'll read the sections, go through the modules, the course explanation, all of that is on Blackboard. Any assignments that you have to submit will be submitted through Google Classroom. And the reason why we shifted to that is 2 reasons. One, the way the coursework is set up on Blackboard, it doesn't align to Google Classroom, where we can easily keep scores and all instructors can have access to it. So I know it's not an issue for you all, but you'll need to make sure that you have access to Blackboard. She's going to send in her email, she's going to send you a link and a passcode and all of the things that you need. It is very important that Andrew, we're going to send the link, the deck to everybody. It's very important that you do not wait until the last minute to try to see if the Blackboard link and everything works, because if you have any issues with it, as soon as you get the email, please click in and make sure you can see everything, so that even if you want to pace yourself with the work, you have access to it. I can't tell you how many people last year waited a long time, and then it was like December and they was like, hey, I can't get in. Well, this is why we want to give you everything early. So when you get the email from Brooke, please make sure all of the links, passcodes, and everything work, and you can jump right into the science of reading, either lower elementary for pre-K through third or upper elementary secondary for grades 4th through 12th. In Google Classroom, you also will be able to view your grades, which Brooke will grade all of your modules, and your grades will be there also, and monitor for any announcements. That's the other thing. We want to make sure that you know exactly where to go to for announcements, grades, and submitting all assignments, and the information will be housed in Blackboard. And then the last part about this part is relates to grading. Each module comes along with a pretest. The pretest is really for you. It's for you to really test your understanding of the module. That is not, Sean, can you go back? Yep. The pretest is not graded. What is graded is the module content and activity guide along with the post test. So each module will come with a post test that has to be graded. There's a final exam at the end of the course. I mentioned that. You have to pass all modules with at least an 80. Now you have 3 attempts for each post test and the final exam. So if you take it and you get like maybe like a 75 or something like that, you're going to have to retake it to get at least an 80. But you do have three attempts. So please make sure that when you are engaging with this content, you are engaging with it in a place where you are seriously taking notes and you're not trying to do it like, say, at a basketball game. Because if you go beyond the 3 attempts, we can't reset them and your score is going to be your score. And then again, like I said, each module is going to have a designated due date. So the next slide should give you an example of what that should look like. All right. So this is just a snippet. So when Brooke sends you the email on October 20th, what you're going to see is you're going to get a course syllabus for whether you're in either upper elementary or upper elementary, secondary, or lower elementary. This is just an example of it. You see, I have module. That's the name of the module. It'll have the due date. Remember, I said due dates are on Sundays. So this is just like an example of. I think this is lower. I don't know if this is lower elementary, but they literally are the same. You see, there's almost like a month in between each module. So you have time to get things done. So you have to be the one that's like, hey, these are the best times for me to do it. Initially, she was trying to like give you not have things due over the holiday break. We didn't get it to be that clean only because depending on the time and the module expectations, you might need that time. We are not suggesting that you work on a holiday, but for those of you who may get a little bit more quiet time over holiday breaks and things like that, we want you to take advantage of it. There's nothing wrong with submitting your modules early, but we don't want you to finish them so early that you actually need to go back and redo them because they're not completed or you haven't passed the post test and things like that. But the dates, Sean, I don't know what's going on. Can you go to the next slide? Because it's going back. Yeah, yep, right there. You can submit your work earlier than the due date. Just be very careful about being later than the due date because then you'll start getting emails from Brooke, copying us on it, and basically saying, "Hey, you're either on task or off task with this." Because it's asynchronous, the expectation is that you are done by the due date in time. There is no coaching around it. This coursework is completely on you. And another thing, when we send out for second year coach, just like you got a progress report during your first year, we send out to your principals in early January, just a progress report to kind of let them know where you are with your second year task, where you are with testing and all of the things. If you are off task with the literacy course, that will be reflected in your progress report. If you're on task, that will be reflected. If you've never started, all of those notes will be reflected because it is important for us to not only communicate with you, but to also let your principal and human capital know where you are as relates to the second year of the course. So Sean, you can go to the next slide. Okay. So you'll expect an email from Brooke on October 20th. So if any of you have not updated your information or you're like, hey, I feel like something changed, please make sure that Sean gets that updated information. You will have time to review the science of reading syllabus for your grade band. Pay attention to the due dates, pay attention to the module descriptions and outlines, and also you'll get directions for Blackboard and the expectations for Google Classroom. So that is what you'll receive on October 20th from Brooke. Any questions? I'm gonna go through the chat. Any questions about what I've shared as it relates to the literacy course? And then I apologize for that slide not being completed, but it will be when we send out the deck. Any
I
questions about the literacy course?
I have a question.
Okay.
Um, hey, so since I'm teaching special education, I teach as low as kindergarten and as high as fifth grade. So I was wondering which of those module sets I would be slotted into.
Okay. I would say, I mean, and I think, and since you're special ed, I get that you're in a different situation versus somebody teaching fourth or fifth grade.
Hmm.
You can pick one
Okay,
and just commit to it.
cool.
Like the whole purpose is that you're exposed to science of reading, but in situations like this, um, if the majority of your grades are those lower grades, I mean, it's not like you're not going to learn from it. It's
Hmm.
not like it's vastly different. It's just tweaked based off of like those who are teaching older children or younger children. But the science of reading, you know, those modules, those expectations, the science reading is science of reading. So if you pick lower, just stick with it.
Okay, cool.
Okay. All
Thank you.
right. No problem. Any other questions before we move forward? And this is just a reminder to what Andrew said. We're going to send out the link. I'm going to make sure that any of the mistakes are fixed, but you will get the link tonight along with the recording.
Question that I have is this, so this is a requirement for all residents, this particular
Yep.
course, right?
Yep. Everybody has to take it.
Okay, all right.
Yep. Everybody has to take it. And it doesn't matter. And I mean, and I know that the district did some science of reading work with let me say this. I know new teachers onboarded this year had to do some science of reading PD. I'm not sure how everybody else was brought into it, but science of reading is not just, it's about literacy across all grade bands, across all content areas, because it's about how literacy is a part of all content. So it's not going to be differentiated or there's a group that's exempt from it. All right. Any other questions? And one other thing, we had this last year, and I don't think anybody in this group will do it, but I just want to say it because I didn't think about it. If you are taking a reading course on your own, or say you're working towards another degree, that's fine. That doesn't circumvent this. So this course is designed by TNTP. It's approved through MSDE. This is what we sign off on. If you are getting a degree in reading, that is great. I love that for you, but that's not going to circumvent this. So we had someone last year who was starting to take reading courses and was like, well, I thought, and it's like, mm-mm. And she had to hurry up and finish it all because this is the last instructional requirement for you as it relates to second year BCTR. All right, Sean, we can move to the next. Oh, that's me. Is that me? That's me. All right. All right, you can move to the next slide. I forgot I was back to back. There we go. All right, so as it relates to testing, and we're going to get into, because I noticed that there are some people who have other testing requirements, but in general, BCTR requires, not BCTR, Maryland State Department of Education, that requires that all teachers finish their certification expectations with taking a pedagogy exam. And a pedagogy exam has been a number of things, but it is now transitioning to, when I say transition, like they're what do they call it? They're sunsetting some old tests, MSCE, are sunsetting some old tests that used to be allowed. And now they're only focused on EdTPA. 2 years ago, you could have taken EdTPA and two other tests. This year, the focus is just EdTPA, which is a portfolio-based assessment, and it's your pedagogy exam. Everyone has to take this. This is not a per grade, or per content. This is the final pedagogy exam that all people that are acquiring their standard teaching license have to complete. What I like about EdTPA is that it is a portfolio-based assessment. It is not a paper pencil test where it's timed like other things that you've taken before, like core or content. This really is pulling artifacts from your teaching practice to show examiners that you understand the three most important tasks of teaching: lesson planning, instruction, and assessment. And so at TPA, although it's newer, it's the newer pedagogy exam that that's required, not just in Maryland, but Maryland has kind of like, Maryland was onboarding it around the time of the pandemic, and they kind of gave it a longer stretch because of the pandemic and other things that were changed. So for a number of years, Ed TPA was not scored. It was almost like did you meet the requirements in general or not? If it's not going to start being scored this year, it's going to be next year, because it's now the test that Maryland State Department of Education expects all new teachers to take. Again, it is portfolio based. We have always tried to support our teachers, our new teachers, with it. So we actually pay for EdTPA for you. It is a $300 exam. So we actually have vouchers for you all to be able to take it. So that's one less thing you have to worry about. Before you receive your voucher, you're going to get a Google link from Sean and I, where we ask you to look at the dates. When you get this link, you'll see the dates where you can click in. You'll look at the submission dates, and we are going to ask you, when do you plan on taking EdTPA, so that we can kind of keep record of when we should expect your scores back. When you look at the submission date link, you will see the date that you actually turn the documents in and the dates that they will be scored. So you don't have to do the math for that on your own. There's already a table and a chart that MSDE has for you, where they literally say, if you submit it at this time, you will get your scores back. Here's the most important thing. The most important thing is that before you say when you're going to take it, you spend time looking at the testing resources and getting started link. Please do that first, because there are a number of artifacts that you have to collect. You have to manage your time with this. You're going to have to be the person that determines, like, when is the best time for me to collect artifacts, for me to submit artifacts. And I don't want you submitting a date to us and being like, oh, this is when I'm going to do it, but you really haven't looked at the fact that you might be at the end of a unit, or you may be in a particular place at that time, or you may be testing, and it's not a good time for you to collect artifacts. So you're going to have to do your own homework around what EdTPA is requiring and a time that works best for you. The time span that we are giving you, no, Sam, I'm just going to send you the link to the full deck, and then you can just click through it. So you can actually look at like the best times for you to be able to actually take the test, time yourself, and be able to submit it. Because again, I don't want you overcommitted to something that you're not going to be able to fulfill, because we have to keep track of it, because those vouchers also have an expiration date, and we can't go beyond that particular date. So I'm going to pause here. I don't want anyone to get in front of the conversation. This is going to come out to you tonight. Even if the recording is not finished, we can send that out to you next. We can send that out to you later. But most importantly, these links are live because I was testing them. You'll be able to look at it. But the EdTPA is something that you have to complete so that you can get your scores. You have to submit it by April 20th to get your scores by May 21st. But if you want to submit earlier, you can. Any questions about EdTPA? And just really quick, YouTube, there are a lot of videos out there of folks that have EdTPA test best practices. Of course, anything that's online is not really monitored, so I would be careful about who you decide is an expert. But there are some helpful hints out there. There are some school districts that have created different type of like searches and different things where they've taught like an EdTPA course, where they give out some helpful tips. So there is nothing wrong with researching some best practices to EdTPA submissions. I just think that you need to, again, do your homework before you decide when you're actually going to submit it. Once you give us those submission dates, you're going to get your voucher number. The voucher number expires in May, so we wouldn't be able to pay for it beyond May anyway. So that April 30th date is really important, because we don't want you to have to pay for it. We want, again, to take this off your plate, but you got to be able to organize your time in a way to get this part done. Any questions about EdTPA before Sean jumps into licensure?
Sorry, I have a question.
Okay.
Um, um, with it being a portfolio, um, I guess I'm confusing what you're saying about this being a test and it being a portfolio. Is
Mhm.
it that once I click it, I'm going to be submitting all of the things that I collected at one time? Or am I missing the other part that's more like a test? Guess I'm not
You
understanding.
so the exam the part is that is graded. Like each is divided into three tasks. Task one is lesson planning. So before you submit anything, of course you're going to go online and register, and they give you a window to submit, because you get a window for when you submit things by a certain date. They tell you this is when I'm going to score it. So there's some things you're going to have to upload for the lesson plan. You're going to upload that information at one particular time, and then you'll close it out. Then you'll upload your information for instruction. But you're going to have them all. You're going to upload it all within one particular window so that it can be graded all at one time. Now, I will give you a helpful hint. If you time it correctly, you can take 1 to 2 lessons and cover all 3 tasks. And so that's why it's really important that you get into it and you read it, because you'll be able to look and see if I have this unit coming up, which I think I can, the lesson plan will meet the criteria that they give. The instruction expectations will meet the criteria that it gives. The assessment, the expectation will meet the criteria. I can get this done in these 3 lessons. You can fashion yourself around that time. So that's why it's important to go ahead and look. And if you guys want to form groups and like, hey, what are you using? Just please don't use somebody else's stuff. But if you want to form groups and kind of like some best practices, feel free to do so. But your submission times and dates will be given once you register. Your submission times will be given within this tight window, and that's when you'll submit everything, and then that's what's graded.
Okay, thank you.
But you're welcome. But again, please do your homework. April will be here before you know it. So please don't, I'll get to it. Please make sure that you commit to a time and you actually do it. Any other questions about EdTPA?
I don't know if you mentioned this already, but when will we be able to log on to it and like see what's actually due for it?
We're going to send you the links tonight, and you can look, you can jump into the hyperlinks tonight and look at it.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
All right.
All right. So second year licensure requirements. So just like when you were coming into the program, you have some things that you owe me, and it depends on your subject area. A lot of this depends on, but EdCPA is going to be one of the big ones. So there's 2 groups of folks in this cohort. There are people that are on a state provisional license, and I'm going to address that right now with those folks. So those that are on a state provisional license or RTL, that means that you're just on the state license, that you finished those praxis tests to enter the program. And so for everyone that is on that RTL, the requirements are below here, in order to move to the full state licensure by the end of the school year. You need to submit passing score for your EdTPA that Johari just talked about. If you are elementary ed, early childhood, or special ed, you will need to take the Praxis Teaching and Reading exam, the 5205. And then when I send it, I'll put a link to that exam in this slide as well, so you can click it and see what that is. That test is really just testing reading knowledge. Most residents, like 90% of them, pass it the first time. It is not like some of the content exams that were really tough to pass, but you do need to put some time into it. And then the last couple of things are, one, that you need to get a developing a hire on your annual evaluation from the district. So the same end of year evaluation you sent to me at the end of this last school year, you have to do that again at the end of this 25-26 school year. It probably will not be available until the end of May, beginning of June, but it has to be developing or higher again. And then the last thing is that you have to have a contract to teach into the 25, 26, 27. I'll change that as well. School year. So if you plan on resigning, and I talked about this earlier in the content or contact information, if you're planning on resigning prior to September 6th, you have to really make sure that you get all that documentation into me so I can submit it as soon as possible so that your IPL or your initial professional license is processed before the time that you do a resignation. And that's important because we partner with the district, and so we have to give them the documentation, and then they have to pass that on to MSD. So that's why that's important. That's why if you are planning on moving from the district after the school year, please get some time with me and Johari to have a consultation on how best to do that. And then the last thing, if you're a special ed teacher, you will also have to take the Praxis Special Ed exam, and I'll put a link in there for that as well. But this is all information for folks that have passed all their initial Praxis scores or that are on the state license. For those of you that are on conditional license, so these are licenses that were given to you by the district in order to give you some time to finish those initial Praxis tests, the Praxis Core, the Praxis 2. So those are still required. And I know that some of you have been working them over the past year, but you're gonna need to submit any outstanding Praxis Core or Praxis 2 test schedules or exams by January 9th of 2026. So failure to get those scores and or giving us schedule of those scores will have you in a negative status with the program, and we'll have to let let human capital know about that status. For those that are on conditionals, Johari and I are going to meet with you to go over all the things that you need to do in order to move to that state license, and then hopefully coach you into what's going to be the most successful way for you to do that. But if you're on a conditional, is extremely important to get those tests done as soon as possible. We're saying January 9th, but if you can get those tests done earlier, over breaks or anytime before the end of the school year, that is better. But we're giving people to January 9th, 2026 to get their testing plans into us. Any questions about licensing for either the conditional or for the initial standard license that are coming up?
So I'm pretty sure that I'm on the initial one, but I keep getting emails from human capital about conditional licensing, but like I already took the Praxis core. Well, I was waived for the core because of like whatever, and then I already took the one that I needed to take to get into the program, like the Praxis 2.
Okay, forward that email to me, and then I can take a look. And if they haven't processed it, I can work with the district to make sure that that goes through.
Thank you.
Yeah, I think I'm in the same boat. At least on like teach, mine is conditional, but I've already taken Praxis 2 as well. That was last year.
Okay, yeah, same thing. Who are you? Do you remember the name of the person sending you the email?
No, I don't remember getting an email, but I know on teach it still says conditional.
Okay, got it. Yeah, just send me an email so I can follow up for you.
Okay, thank you.
Oh, so I have a question. My teach information was mixed up with a teacher who was retired. So they had me all messed up. So if you could check to see if I'm cleared up, because somehow they merged that teacher. We kind of had like the same name, but the date of birth, she's much older and she's retired, but they merged my information with hers without even checking with me, or I don't know why.
Wow. Okay.
So that is a big issue. I don't know if it's been resolved totally, but that was a problem that I was having.
And they sent you emails about that?
They did. I did go to North Avenue one time, and when I got there and I said my name, they all looked around like, "Oh my God." And I was like, "What's going on?"
Yeah.
And she said that we thought you were much older. I said, "No." She said, "Aren't you retired?" I said, "No, this is my first year." So then they said, "Oh, someone made a mistake and merged my information with the retired teacher because they thought we were the same person. They
Okay.
merged us together." So
Yeah.
it's like me, I've taken the praxis too also. So I don't know where I stand on that side.
Yeah, for anyone that's in a situation similar to that, or they haven't, I know that the district is still going through a lot of backlog of stuff. So let me know so that I can just group everyone together and say, can we go through each one of our BCTR residents and make sure that their stuff is processed, and to make sure that it should show up in your MSD portal as on the state license or RTL.
Okay.
And then Tiana, you said go back to the slide. Are you talking about the conditional slide or the state slide?
This is the one. Thank you. I'm good now. You can move
Okay.
to the next.
Sean,
Yes.
is that information something that can be seen in your employee self-service?
No.
Okay.
It can only be seen in your MSD account. You might be able to see it, but it's not as accurate. Like you want to go into your MSD portal because that's who issues those licenses. So the district portal may say one thing, but you want to make sure that it says it in your state portal, because that's where the state is granting you those licenses.
Perfect. Thank you.
What question, Sean, if you don't mind? Now I'm on a conditional license until 2029. I mean, I'm not sure. I mean, is that issued by the state of Maryland? And how does that intertwine with the BCTR program? I'm not sure
Yeah.
how that works.
That I'm glad you asked that. So conditional. So if you're on a conditional that is given by the district, I think your cohort was the first year to get those 5-year conditionals, um, which is great if you need that runway. But for BCTR, because we have limited resources, we can only support you up to that 2 years. So that's why that date on January 9th gives us time to get your paperwork in and at least get you on the state license so you have some time to you'll still have some things to do on that license, but there's some minor supports for that. But if you're still in the conditional by that time at the end of the school year, then you'll be removed from the program, just because we don't have the resources to continue supporting for the state license. But you do have an extra 3 years to still get full licensing through the district.
So, but I also want to add this, Sean, and this is Andrew, this is for you and anyone else in this situation. You got to finish with us in order for our coursework and everything else to be a part of your state licensure within the 2 years. Meaning, the reason why we are pushing this hard, and even last year we were like, hey, if you're on a conditional license, that means we don't have passing scores for core and content. The reason why that is important is because at the end of year 2, this school year, we need to be able to say that you have not only finished all of our coursework, all of the practice requirements, and then we sign off that you are now ready for your state teaching license, the license that you actually can hold on to for 5 years, and you just got to take a couple of courses every 5 years to renew it. Here is the consequence of not finishing the content, the core, and all of the things. Your license may expire in 2029, but you got to start your coursework over with somebody else. You can't use BCTR coursework and then 3 years later finish it, because our program, because we are an alternative certification program. What we say is that our folks will finish everything within 2 years, and within that 2 years, our coursework and everything counts. If you're not finished all of your requirements by the end of the 2 years, hence why we've been like, get the test and everything out of the way, is because when your time expires with us, you are still on a conditional. You can continue to teach, but you got to start over with your coursework, You got to start
For real.
over. Yeah. Which is, and this, just to be transparent, this is why in year one, we have been asking people to make sure, even before you start, like, hey, let's get these tests and the core and the content out of the way, so you only have this one test at the end. So for people, and this is not a jab, because I get life gets in the way. People are like, okay, I'll get to it, I'll get to it, I'll get to it. Our program is 2 years for a reason. And so the reason why we want to make sure that those of you who, because last year some people took care of it, this year some people still have to. The reason why we want to make sure that you get those preliminary tests out of the way is because you have the 2 years with us to finish. And if you don't, again, life happens, but you have to understand on the other side of it, it's not, I can a la carte this. Because we're an alt cert program, these are the requirements. And this is how we've had to get title around it. No one that went through PSC this summer was able to get through PSC and pass if they did not pass core and content by the time they walked out of PSC. Not one person. Because our requirement, the state requirement, is that these 2 tests are taken. We gave folks the leeway to get it done. As MSD gets title on Baltimore City gets title on us. So we don't, you all are the last cohort that we will have when somebody can come into year 2 and be on a conditional. You have to be on a resident teacher license. So as soon as you can get those, whatever that, either just content or the core done, that allows us to put you on a resident teacher license. That allows us to say you only got this one test left, and within the 2 years we work it out. But this is why there's been a sense of urgency since last year of getting this stuff done. Journey.
So silly me. Apparently, I had to pay the $10 application fee, but I did that, and now it says I got an email saying that I'm on the resident teacher license.
After the $10?
Yeah, I didn't know I had to pay the $10. It's literally been since like summer.
Well, Journey, you're not the only one, because I got to renew my certification, and they held my stuff up until I gave them $10 too. So
Problem solved.
No, to be honest with you, Jerry, that's not on you. The district's supposed to pay that $10.
Oh.
Yeah, and so I don't know if I don't think they'll reimburse you the $10. But that is, they do pay the $10. And maybe that's the backup for some of the folks that have completed stuff and I submitted and you did your application. We can check. But for those people that don't see that state licensure in their thing, let me know so then I can talk to folks at the district, make sure they pay for your license, make sure they process it so that you're going to be all good. But communication is a key on all these things. If there's something funky going on, please let me and Johari know so that we can document it, but also try to provide some solution to those things that that's our job, is to really communicate and to work on those things for you.
So Sam, in your Teach portal, I would say this: everybody should go to their Teach portal and see if it reflects where you are, like what you know you passed and you've done. Is it a clear reflection? If it's not, screenshot it, share it. That's what you share with Sean, because ultimately the Teach portal is yours. Like it's yours. But if there's something on it that you feel like is off, please, that's when you share it. Like, again, the $10 may be the difference. I don't know if you want to hold these people up for $10. I don't know. That's your choice. But if that's if the $10 is the difference between things being updated, you might want to take care of it. But ultimately, what you submitted to us, is all of that in your Teach portal. That's really what you should use as a litmus test to make sure that everything is the same, because that's yours to own. So check your Teach portal, go into it. Does it have all of your updated information? If it does, you're great. If you feel like it's missing something, send a screenshot, send a message to Sean and I. Hey, can you go through this with me? I feel like something is missing. It could come down to $10, or it could be there's something that really is missing.
I'm sorry, Johari. Teach portal in BCPS or MSDE? Like, I'm just confused about.
It's Yeah, no, it is confusing because the district wants you to look at the district employee portal, MSD portal, and uh, I'll put a link in the slide, but I'll see if I can put a link in the chat. Is the when you signed up for your applications, everyone did the MSD portal when you started. So that's the state portal is where you're going to look, not the district one. It has similar information, but go to the MSD portal.
And should it say that we're in resident status? Or
Yes, if you
okay,
completed your
so
testing.
if it says conditional, but we did our praxis, then there's a problem.
Yeah, just email me. Not necessarily a problem, but something that I can help fix on our end. Journey.
I see Journey. Journey said pay the $10. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So again, communication is key. If there's something that you don't understand, I'm more than happy to sit down with you. I know for our conditional folks, we're definitely going to be having some consultations with you guys so that you can get on track with all the testing and things of that nature. For most of you that have completed stuff, it really usually is something very simple on the district end or something that I can help them with that can get moving on. So it's not a thing to panic over if you got everything done. As long as we have all the documentation, we can go through it. I know just to give you a little background, like the district went through a lot of overhaul of the certification office. And so they are doing a lot of backlog stuff and getting things up to code with the district, like all the districts in the state. So again, just communicate, let me know so that I can help you get things looking the way it should be.
So if you want to hang on and ask some additional questions, you can. If you feel like you're good, Sean and I need to make, after we're done, we're going to stay online and make a couple of tweaks to the slides so we can get the slides out to the cohort, this deck out to the cohort tonight. Please remember, October 20th, expect an email from Brooke. Go into the EdTPA links, look at them. I know a little bit about it, not a whole lot, but if you have some general questions about EdTPA, feel free to shoot me a text. Like, what do you think about? I've never scored. I've just kind of like created a general course for it. So I may be able to give you here's some things to consider. But because things change every year and people put out new information, please make sure that you are paying attention to those links. Go into the Teach portal, the Maryland State Department of Education Teach portal, to make sure that it reflects what you've given us and what should be there, so that by the time we get to the end of this year, we're all on the same page and you're getting that state teacher license. One other thing, we process your stuff over the summer, so you're not going to end the school year and then all of a sudden have your teacher license. Like, literally, we process it over the summer, so you can look for that update for when you finish everything as we go into like July and August. So just kind of give you a heads up. We haven't forgotten about you, but our processing time is the summer. So just a heads up with that. If you don't have any other questions, feel free to log off. It's wonderful to see your face. My number is the same. Call or text. If you got any other questions, hang on.
I have a question.
Okay. All right. Wait a minute. Give me 1 second. Everyone else, have a nice night. And those who have a questions, please hang on. All right. You can unmute. What's your question?
My question is, with the assignment, is it monthly or weekly?
I think generally you got about 3 to 4 weeks in between each module.
Okay.
But when you get the syllabus on the 20th, time yourself based on those due dates.
Okay.
Jahar,
Huh? Yes.
I'm sorry, Johari, I have a question, but it's concerning stipend. We were supposed to get a second stipend for tuition. Isn't that correct? No?
I think that it was supposed to be applied to your tuition, not given to you.
Yes, that's what I meant. I'm sorry, I wasn't clear. Yes, it's applied to the tuition, but do you know when? Because it said it was going to be applied in October, and I know we are in October.
Okay, no, I don't know what part of October. I can find out. Let me make a note.
Yeah, that's what I was emailing you about the payment, and I emailed the TNT.
So,
They didn't answer.
okay, so I interpreted that email about making monthly payments, not about the stipend being off, and I forwarded to the folks that are supposed to be answering. But you were asking about the payment adjustment,
Yeah, because it
not
was
the
like,
monthly payment.
well, the monthly
Okay.
payment changes once they add the adjustment. I probably should word it,
Okay.
but yeah.
Okay. I'll send an email. Actually, I'll send a note. I'll send an email to the person that's over EEC to find out about that.
Okay, perfect.
Thank you.
Right. Because that still fell under when we had BEEC. So that's something that I have to. I'll find out about that, because I know that I am assuming Jahari does not oversee this money. I'm assuming that that's a commitment they will continue to, because again, it's not that group's fault that things had to change. So I'll find out, but that's what was given to BEEC, right?
Yes.
Got it. Okay. I will send an email.
Thank you.
No problem. Sean, before anybody asks any other questions, I'm sending you in Teams the actual draft I was working from that's in
Okay.
SharePoint. I'm sending it to you now. Okay.
Yeah, I think it's the same one. Because I opened it in on the desktop, it didn't maybe sync.
Okay. Okay. Yep. I just sent it to you. Okay.
Cool.
Any other questions? I don't see anything else in the chat.
Sean, when can we expect the email from you that will tell us where our standing? I know in the email that you sent first, you said that you will send us individual emails. When should
Yes. I want to try to get them out in the next week or two to everyone, and especially for our conditional folks, so that you, Johari, and I can set times with you guys. But that should be soon.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.